Hello everybody, it's Mel. Thank you for joining me today for my TBR game for the month of November. The TBR game that I play pretty much every single month is my Roll of Reads. I will link my January video because in that video I go through all the gameplay, all the rules and some changes that I made for this year. So that is linked down below if you would like to go and have a look at that. But if you don't really want to, just briefly, Roll of Reads is a game that is very, very loosely based on Dungeons and Dragons. I have this, it's upside down, I have this 20-sided, 20-spaced game board, and I have prompts. On the numbers 1, 5, 10, 15 and 20 I have permanent prompts that not only stay throughout each game, they're just there all the time. And then I have prompt cards that go on all of the other prompts. Throughout the game I roll a d20 and whatever number I roll I pick up the card that is on that number and I have to do that prompt. Like I said, it's loosely based on D&D, so if I roll a 1 then that is a punishment. I have punishment cards that I have to draw from. If I roll a 20 then that is a reward and I have reward cards that I can choose from. I also have the permanent prompts, so they are out of my comfort zone for a 1 and then mood read for a 20. If I roll the same number twice throughout the game, then at any point throughout the game, then I have to pick a punishment card as well. So yeah, that is very briefly how the game works. Let me go through how last month went so that we can figure out whether I need to take punishment or whether I can pick up a reward. The first prompt that I got was, I can't remember. What was the first prompt that I got? Let me look. Set somewhere you've never been, I chose Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by B. Schwab, and I have read that one. Then I got Come to a Favourite Book, and I chose Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, and I have not read this one. I haven't even started it. It is the 22nd of October, so I theoretically would be able to pick this up and finish it, but I'm kind of in the middle of 3 other books, so I don't think that I will get to this one this month, which means that I have to take a punishment, and I probably don't need to go through the rest because I only take one punishment, but let's have a look anyway. Then I got the prompt TBR jar, and the TBR slip that I got was Heirs of Power by Kay MacLeod, which I did not read as well. So yeah, still punishment. I might even roll this back up again and put it back in the TBR jar. Then I got the prompt First Nations author from the USA or Canada, and I chose Alatsoe by Darcy Littlebadger, and I haven't read that one either. So I didn't do very well on last month's TBR. That means I have to pick a punishment, which I will do in a minute when I play the game. But before I go and do that, I want to talk to you very briefly about some of the books that I need to potentially read in November. And I'm going to have to get Editing Mel to insert herself, more than likely, and talk to you about a couple of the books because... no, I remember what it was now. So in November, some of us from Paige's Patreon, Paige from Pages with Paige, anyone that I talk about today will be linked down below. Pages with Paige, her Patreon, the buddy read for that, I think in November, is going to be A Study in Drowning by Eva Reid, so I will need to be reading that one. I don't know what Bethany's Patreon book club book is. I can't remember, so I'll show you what that is. Editing Mel will do that. Potentially I will be picking that up as well because I seem to remember that I thought it sounded interesting. And then I am also supposed to be buddy reading with my friend Michelle, and we haven't decided what that is, so again, Editing Mel will put the final book we decide on. And then also, I'm not sure, I thought that I was picking up Two Cursed Crowns by Rachel Gillick, which is the second book in the duology. One Duck Window is the first one, because I'm supposed to be reading that with Ellie from El Grey Books, but I haven't heard from her. So I don't know whether she is currently reading One Duck Window, which means I don't know whether we are going to be picking up the next one. So that's already a reasonably sizable TBR. Not sure how we're going to go this month, but anyway, let's play the game nonetheless, and then we can talk through what the books for this TBR game is, if any of that makes sense. Okay, so let's shuffle our rewards first of all. And then we will shuffle our punishments. And then our permanent prompts. I don't know where 5 is, but we know it's TBR jar, so that's fine. And then we will shuffle the rest of the prompts. Let's try and make sure we remember not to put a card in 5. Alright, so I first have to choose a punishment. Add any book. Alright, we will pop that there to remind us about add any book. Okay, and let's get rolls going. Roll number 1 is a 3. First Nations Australian author. Okay, roll number 2 is a 2. Mentioned in the Gilmore Girls / Heartstopper. Interesting. $12. Comped to a favourite book. And then hopefully our final roll. 19. East Asian author. Alright. And yeah, let's go pick those books. So as you just saw, I did pick up my punishment, which was add any book. So I will be adding one of the books I just talked to you about. Or also, it might be my own book club read. In fact, it probably should be my own book club read because I do need to read that. We are actually reading that October, November, December, so I could read it in the first couple of weeks of December. It doesn't matter really because I never count punishment towards whether I get a punishment for next month, if that makes sense. So it doesn't matter whether I pick it up and read it in November or the very beginning of December, but it is, oh God, what is it? We decided this a couple of months ago and I've totally forgotten what we decided. Bear with me. The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter. So that is for my book club. So I am running a book club called the Book Fiend Book Club. I will link my announcement video down below, as well as the Discord. And I'm doing fortnightly. I'm doing a quarterly book club because I thought that would be easier. So the book we're reading for across October, November, December, obviously it's up to you how you end up picking that up. And it's via theme. So this month was like a holiday Christmas book and we had 4 choices. This is the one that everyone, that was the one the vote. So The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year, I do need to read that. So I'm going to say that for any book. But we'll see because I also have those other books to potentially choose from. If any of that makes sense. Okay, so prompt number 1, I got First Nations Australian author. And I actually just recently hauled a book that will be perfect for this. So that is Eden Glassy by Melissa Lukashenko. I'm going to read the back to you. 2 extraordinary Indigenous stories set 5 generations apart. When Melanian meets the beautiful Nita in Eden Glassy, their saltwater people still outnumber the British. As colonial unrest peaks, Melanian dreams of taking his bride home to Yugambeh country, but his plans for independence collide with white justice. 2 centuries later, fiery activist Winona meets Dr. Johnny. Together they care for obstinate centenarian Granny Eddie, and sparks fly, but not always in the right direction. What nobody knows is how far the legacies of the past will reach into their modern lives. In this brilliant epic novel, Melissa Lukashenko tortures Queensland colonial myths while reimagining an Australian future. So I am really looking forward to this. It sounds like it could be really, really interesting. I have read 2 books by Melissa Lukashenko before and enjoyed both of them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one and seeing what I make of it. The next prompt that I got was mentioned in the Gilmore Girls / Heartstopper, and I have not actually figured that out. Normally I try and figure these sorts of things out before I start the video, but I didn't. So let's have a look. So far, I have either read it or I don't really care to read it. So that's fun. This is just the Gilmore Girls. I haven't even looked at Heartstopper. But I actually think I'm going to go with Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I am pretty sure I've read this many years ago, and then I was reading it with my grandmother a couple of years ago, who before she passed away. Having said, I'm thinking, I'm still looking at my phone as I'm talking, and just above Rebecca it says Charlotte's Web. And you know what? I'm actually going to go with Charlotte's Web. It totally changed my mind because I remember loving that book when I was a kid, but I've only read it I think once. I've seen the movie a couple of times. I feel like kids' book would be, it's classic, but still kids' book would actually be really nice to break things up a bit. So I'm going to go with Charlotte's Web. That's what I'm going to go with for Mentioned in the Gilmore Girls. Oh, that was a ride, I feel like. So Mentioned in the Gilmore Girls is Charlotte's Web by, it's on screen. Then I got comped to a favourite book. So I feel like this is cheating a little bit, but I haven't read it, so I'm going to read Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I put this on this month, October's TBR, and I haven't got to it yet, and I really don't think I will. The reason why I have said that it's comped is because on the back... No, sorry. I picked up a few different favourite books of mine, and one of the ones I picked up was The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. The blurbs, so you know how sometimes, like on here, it says it's got something from Patrick Rothfuss. So, although that works, because one of my favourite series is from Patrick Rothfuss. But anyway, so you know how sometimes it has, like, an author has blurbed it? Laini Taylor had blurbed the book by Alex E. Harrow. And so I thought, well, I have a Laini Taylor, so that works. But yes, the book that I've chosen for this one, comped to a favourite author or favourite book, is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I just realised I did not say what Charlotte's Web is about. I feel like most people probably have vaguely heard of Charlotte's Web, but essentially we follow a pig called Wilbur, and Wilbur is the runt of the litter, taken on by a little girl of the farmer's little girl, rather than like as the normal sort of flock. It's not the right word, but group of pigs that they have, and is kind of a pet, but at the same time being raised in the farm, and so eventually he's going to be killed and eaten. And Charlotte is a spider who lives in the barn. She takes it upon herself to try and save Wilbur. And I can't remember how, it's something to do with writing messages in her web. But yeah, I remember loving it as a kid. Anyway, this one, I will read the back of this one. The note, errand requiring immediate attention. Come. The note was on vellum, pierced by the talons of the almost crow that delivered it. Carew read the message. He never says please, she sighed, but she gathered up her things. When Brimstone called, she always came. In general, Carew has managed to keep her two lives in balance. On the one hand, she's a 17-year-old art student in Prague. On the other, errand girl to a monstrous creature who is the closest thing she has to family. Raised half in our world, half in elsewhere, she has never understood Brimstone's dark work, buying teeth from hunters and murderers, nor how she came into his keeping. She is a secret even to herself, plagued by the sensation that she isn't whole. Now the doors to elsewhere are closing, and Carew must choose between the safety of her human life and the dangers of a war-ravaged world that may hold the answers she has always sought. Which I think sounds fantastic, so now I'm a bit confused why I'm not reading it. But anyway, definitely going to put it on this month's TBR. Hopefully I'll get to it. And yeah, I love Laini Taylor's writing style in the Stranger Dreamer duology, so I'm hoping I'll enjoy it in this one as well. And then the final prompt that I got was East Asian author. And for this one, I've decided to go with a book that I hauled, not the most recent haul, but a couple of months ago. And I will link my video because it's a come shopping with us book video, so I'll link that below. And that is The Healing Season of Pottery by Yeon So-min, who is a Korean author. So this one says, burnt out by her news writing job, Jung Min abruptly quits. She's worked tirelessly for years and she needs to make a change. Now, after months of hibernation, it's time to put her life back together. Venturing out into the streets near Seoul, she attempts upon the Soyo Pottery Club. Drawn in by its light and warmth and the smell of clay and coffee, Jung Min feels something unfurl within her. Here, everyone has a story to share, and as the seasons change, Jungmin returns to herself. Pot by pot, plate by plate, Jungmin discovers that as her hands become busier, her mind becomes calmer, and her heart opens up like never before. This is a story of new friends and old practices, of finding community, and of what happens when you finally slow down in this fast-paced world. So I just think it sounds really cozy, really sweet. It's not super long. It's like 258 pages long, which is reasonably short, and it's also quite a little book, so I think it will be a reasonably easy, quick read. And yeah, it sounds like it's going to be really sweet and wholesome, so I'm looking forward to that one. Okay, so that's the TBR. Let's quickly go through all the books, just to summarize them all. My punishment, which is add any book, and as you know, I basically have a bunch of books to choose from, but I'm probably going to add my book club book, which is The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter. Then the first prompt that I got was First Nations Australian author, and for that I've chosen Eating Glassy by Melissa Lukashenko. Then I got mentioned in the Gilmore Girls / Heartstopper, and I decided to go with Charlotte's Web by someone whose name I've forgotten, which is a children's classic and was mentioned in the Gilmore Girls. Then I got comped to a favourite book, and for this one I've gone with Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Delaney Taylor, which is a kind of carryover from last month. Fingers crossed I actually get to it this time. And then my final prompt was East Asian author, and for this one I've gone with The Healing Season of Pottery by Yeon Somin. And yeah, that's my TBR. So let me know in the comments below what you think of my TBR. Have you read any of these books? Did you like them or not? Let me know all that down below. And yeah, anything else you'd like to let me know about, please comment that down below. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me, I'm just trying to think, leave me a weapon emoji, because on the front of this you'll see there are rifles and spears, so leave me a weapon emoji for Eating Glassy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.